Knife crime. London's most talked about problem. Shout out Jimmy the Giant. I love his videos. I'm literally going to be watching one of his videos today. It's not going to be a complete reaction video because I do have a lot of points, strong points to talk about this. Especially working in the music industry, working with all these drill rappers, seeing lots of knives throughout my life. And, you know, just seeing how things have kind of not really changed, but got worse over the years.
And now to the UK, where officials are dealing with a recent surge of knife crime.
That first time I got stabbed 9 times, and then the second time I got stabbed 9 times.
There were 14,000 knife-related incidents in London.
As of lately, the UK has become synonymous with this image of rising knife crime.
Little knives, knives, knives.
We see these police pictures of some of the weapons they seize. It's like a Counter-Strike loot box. But today I want to peek past the headlines and talk about how bad is this problem really? And are the politicians and pundits that like to talk about this a lot,
Lawless Britain is in full swing.
are they helping or are they making the problem worse? Today we're going to explore the UK's knife crime epidemic.
And that's actually a really good point because, of course, knife crime has always been in London, but I feel like the politicians and the media made it about 30 times worse than what it was. I'll be honest. Do you know what I mean? I've worked with so many rappers here. I've worked with so many, you could say, illegal members of society. And yeah, it's always been 10 times worse than what it actually is. Do you know what I mean? And again, the media's really good at fear-mongering. However, I'm not saying that it's not bad. I'm not saying that it's definitely not good. I remember growing up, most of the time, I was desensitized to most of this stuff because it used to just happen around me all the time. And it's not a good thing. It's not a great thing. London isn't safe. I'm not going to say that it is. But it's bad. It is sad. It is sad. Because growing up, do you know what I mean? It was always mainly in my teenage years. And I can only imagine this for the youth of today. It's the same thing, innit? Gang culture. Do you know what I'm saying? Trying to make money, but you want to stay protected. It's, again, social media isn't helping. Everybody wants to act cool. Which, actually, now I think about it, today's age got it quite easy. Because back then, the only thing that was cool was gang shit. Do you know what I'm saying? Now it's like, you can be expressive. You can express yourself on TikTok. You can do whatever you want. Do you know what I'm saying? Back then, anything else apart from being a part of the gang culture was seen as being a pussy. So, you know what I'm saying? You're either soft, you're sweet boy, you're this, you're that. But nowadays, these kids got it quite easy. They're expressive. Do you know what I'm saying? They can do whatever they like, say whatever they like. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not really judged as much, I would say. Maybe if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, put it in the comment sections. But this is literally from my experiences. Do you know what I'm saying? And secondary schools that my nieces and nephews be going to. Growing up, I feel like there was a lot more pressures, like, especially with knife crime being mad as it is. CCTV cameras were around, but not as clear as how they are today. I personally feel like knife crime's dropped, but crime has not dropped at all. Especially gang life. Like, I feel like a lot of gangs nowadays, a lot of them are inactive. Do you know what I'm saying? A lot of them are in jail. The jails are full. So, my personal opinion, and I'm not saying this is fact, I just feel like gang culture and knife crime has died down a lot. More than what the media tends to show you, do you know what I'm saying? However, people getting robbed every day. So don't even think that crime's gone down, car. I don't think that. I just feel like personal gang beef and people getting stabbed and that, it happens, but I don't think it's as prevalent as how it used to be.
Not just a black issue. It's not just a London issue. It's a nationwide issue. And it's growing.
Right, I'm just going to lay my cards out here. I get a little bit annoyed about how London and the UK is framed. Media make it out as though if you want to go to a Greg's Baker, you have to have a jewel to get in.
The wholesale
carrying of weapons that can kill another human being reached an appalling level. And I'm interested to know, do you feel safe?
There was a single month in 2017 where London had a higher murder rate than New York City. I'm like, yeah, that sounds pretty bad. Fox News reported on this. They said, London murder rate beats New York for month as stabbing surge. I just want to bring the temperature down a little bit. So in this month that they're talking about, London had 22 murders as opposed to New York's 21. And this was being portrayed as though fucking samurais had overtaken London, but it was a massive example of misrepresenting a problem. The real story here was that New York had actually done a fantastic job at reducing homicides. If we look at how bad it was and then where it ended up, this is a brilliant story. This is like a good news story. But instead of Fox going, hey look, well done New York, you guys are doing great, we're nearly as low as Europe, instead they reported it like London had surged in knife crime, when in reality knife crimes had stayed the same.
Recently read a story that...
And that's the thing, again, the media make things look so bad. Way worse than what it is. Do you know what I'm saying? It's actually crazy still, because New York's been a war zone. London's been pretty much the same. It's kind of just depends where you see it, do you know what I'm saying? And the media is not really a good outlet to see it. Growing up, I feel like I used to see taped off roads quite a lot more than now I do now, do you know what I'm saying? But maybe it's just still, I don't know, man. It's too hard to read with all this misblurred information.
London, which has unbelievably tough gun laws. They say it's as bad as a military war zone.
And this story pisses me off because New York obviously returned to overtaking London. And if we just compare London and England to, I don't know, America, that has a city called St. Louis where its murder rate is 60.9 per 100,000 people. And London's worst year ever was 1.7 per 100,000 people. Now that isn't to say that the UK doesn't have a knife crime problem. Is it this absolute war zone? No, but we do have a problem, and we have to ask, where did this knife crime come from?
And that's literally kind of what I was saying. It's definitely a problem. It's just not as big as the way people see it, do you know what I'm saying? Where I'm from, South London anyway, Peckham around the corner, I've seen that place get gentrified like crazy growing up, do you know what I'm saying? I'm seeing people outside on the weekends with headphones in. London feels safe on a weekend, but it isn't safe at the same time. It's a weird one. It's a weird feeling living in London. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm always feel safe with my own hood, but as soon as I leave my own ends, I feel like I'm in danger. But before I even play this, yeah, I just got one point I want to put across. Drill music. Media and the politicians have really tried to say the leading cause of knife crime was drill music, and I just say it's so much deeper than that. The poverty line, inflation, lack of investment. Do you know what I'm saying? Drill music is a symptom of those things. I wouldn't say it's directly a cause of those things, but it's definitely a symptom of them. Do you know what I'm saying? There's lack of opportunity, there's broken systems. I don't know, some people just see social media and call it a clout chase. They don't even want peas. But one thing I can say is that everyone's just pointing fingers. No one's fixing the real problem. And that's what the main problem is. Rather than making nice media stories, fix the damn problem.
15 minutes. There's a knife crime across England and Wales.
People. Now that isn't to say that the UK doesn't have a knife crime problem. Is it this absolute war zone? No, but we do have a problem, and we have to ask, where did this knife crime come from?
Every 14 minutes, there's a knife crime across England and Wales.
It's happening so often to the point where people are fearing for their lives every single day.
So let's do the thing that we do where we go back in time, right? Let's go back to pre-war Britain and try and get an understanding of what murder was like in this period of time. Oh, murder. The data on murder from this period of time is a little bit sketchy. Did every single murdered prostitute from the slums get recorded? You know, PC Plod just with his little notebook, it's getting a bit full. Is it worth the paperwork? Who knows? Probably not. However, with, you know, a massive fucking handful of salt, we do have some statistics. The government has data on 1901 to 2018 and the homicide rate, and it appears that murder was in fact lower than it was in the 90s to 2000s. And you might be wondering, what the fuck? The slums of London, with the piss and the poo, there was less murder. Why is that? you may be wondering. Well, don't worry, I will tell you.
The public feel crime is increasing and the police are doing nothing about it. The police feel the public couldn't care less.
The most interesting period of time to look at is the 60s. From the 60s, we noticed that the murder rate just starts growing and growing and growing. Now, we don't have any data specifically on knife crimes. They didn't record it. It was just a murder's a murder. But we can assume from our knowledge about gangs in the past that, yeah, probably a few pokies were used. But what's also interesting is if we look at the gender divide. In this same sort of period, we see this dramatic split where men aged 15 to 44 started just fucking dropping like flies. So it is important for us to ask the question, what was happening in the 60s and why were men starting to just be killed more?
Swinging London, changing London, down with the old, up with the new.
Post-World War II, the UK was rebuilding. And in this time, our culture massively changed. We would start to embrace a new type of individualism and consumerism. Largely thanks to the Americans and the advent of home TV, we could now
see this whole history part of London. I'm going to leave that to Jimmy the Giant. If you really do want to watch this full video, it's really good. Please do watch it. Also like the video, comment and subscribe, please. But I'm just going to skip to the important parts.
The skin colour, for weird saying that, but you know, just for England and Wales. You'd have newspapers saying stuff like, what's important is because it is very hard to say whether it was a domestic abuse, whether it was a knife crime epidemic. Knife usage as a percentage of all violent crime consistently remained between 5% and 8% of all offences. And why that's important is because it is very hard to say whether the use of a knife was any more or less common proportionately to all the homicides that have happened historically. But that, my friends, that doesn't sell as many newspapers as knife crime youths are on the rise.
And that's very true. Do you know what I mean? A lot of homicides do happen, but whether it be knife crime, linked to drill music, linked to doing you know what I'm saying, making a song, making music, turns into someone getting killed. I don't know. I feel like it's a symptom. Do you know what I mean? I feel like if someone had a problem with someone, they have the problem first, then make the song. They don't make the song have the problem. It's never really been like that. Do you know what I'm saying? It's always the problem and the core and the mindset before someone even enters the studio. Do you know what I'm saying? It takes inspiration and to make music. It takes inspiration. It takes creativity to make music. You don't make music, then get inspired. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, okay, how many teenagers? 16 this year alone in one city.
What needs to happen?
How many before you get serious?
On the 4th of November 2003, a 14-year-old lad by the name of Luke Walmsley was stabbed and killed in a rural school in Lincolnshire. This case sparked the conversation around knife crime as this kind of distinctly new concern for England and Wales. You'd have newspapers saying stuff like, there are an incredible number of youngsters who are willing to sign up to the knife culture and bring an offensive weapon into school. From here, newspapers started to report more and more about different knife crimes that involved young people. And this was painting a perception of this growing phenomena of knife crime amongst youth. And you can see this whole youth slant in this campaign here from 2005. It's called It's Not a Game. It's a great example of how they were trying to say that it was...
I remember that campaign. Oh my days, I was a little kid, but I was so scared. The media done their job still. I was shook. I was actually so scared.
People playing video games, and it was making us all violent and just stabbing each other.
Yeah, this boy thinks he's going somewhere, blood. I don't think he's going nowhere, you get me?
And if we look very closely here, let's look at the skin colour. For weird saying that, but you know, just bear with me. I'm looking at this and I'm seeing a lot of white boys. This is really important to note. This is 2005, right? At this point, the perception, the rhetoric around knife crime, it was being labelled as a general youth problem. Not white, not black, but a youth problem. However, very slowly and subtly, this youth problem became more and more portrayed as an inner city black problem.
And now that's a big point. That is a very, very big point because they label it mad because remember, London's only got about 13% black. In the UK, I think it's even less than 5%. But the way you would think there's black people everywhere stabbing everybody, the media done their job.
The black community need to be mobilised in denunciation of this gang culture, but we won't stop this by pretending that it isn't young black kids doing it. Tom Rees Price. Tom was a rich white lawyer killed in North London by two black men. This case became an obsession of the media. They would not stop reporting about this case. The newspapers would explain that he was smartly dressed, that he was a high-flying individual, a city lawyer. The coverage of this case in the media was so disproportionate that it led to the new police commissioner by the name of Ian Blair. He accused the media of institutionalized racism. His argument being that on the same day, several other people who were not white but were from different ethnic backgrounds were murdered on the same day, and all they got was one paragraph on page 97. By the end of 2006, discussion in the public sphere increased around knife crime in relation to black communities. And I think there is a reason for this.
Black media, which is a continuous trend in history, always gets reported on a lot. So, because of that, why do you think drill music even blew up in the first place? There was many years of drill music was being made, but do you know what I'm saying? Let me say that again. There was many years urban music was being made, but why was it drill that blew up? The music was good, but I think the media definitely played this role into building and enforcing these stereotypes and enforcing people's characters. Do you know what I'm saying? These artists. And that being said, it made music just go up more. Thank you for my job.
Years ago, there was quite a number of squats here, broken down houses. Now these houses probably go for something like £400,000, I would have thought.
In the mid to late 2000s, London had seen increased gentrification. This is like, you know, fucking middle class Michael and his family have moved into London. But with that, we were now starting to see that the middle class was living in closer physical proximity to more deprived neighborhoods. The same paper references a man by the name of Gilligan. He said that violent confrontations were not more likely, only more likely to involve the middle classes, and therefore more likely to be reported. The increased visibility of this crime would create a perception that this is a growing crime. We're seeing it more and more, and these videos and, you know, very selective reporting might have been skewing the perception of who was doing these crimes.
So you're going to be getting searched now for any weapons or okay, namely knives.
At least you just come back from a strip search. Why are you not doing this,
you're
bro?
detained for a Section 1 police search.
Reason?
My name is PC Heritage.
Bro, you ran past me. Why would that?
Okay.
We often see across the media and social media, etc., a hyper-focus on London. Your drunk bald uncle might share on his Facebook a thing like this. 2/3 of knife offenders under 25 were black or minority ethnic. So with that statistic specifically, it is true that 2/3 of the people in London who were found possessing a knife, they were black or minority ethnic. However, when we understand that 46% of Londoners are black or minority ethnic, it starts to make a little bit more sense.
Okay, I got that statistic way off still. Yeah, okay, I was close. 13.5% residents in London. 13.5%. I don't think it was 46%. And 3.7% of the total population of the UK. So I was quite accurate. 46% minority, I believe, but 13.5% being black.
We might also understand that black and minority ethnic people are more likely to be from more deprived neighbourhoods in London. And knowing that London is central to UK drug trafficking, gang culture, and has a very high population density. And also, let's just bloody remember that we're talking about possession. The viral Facebook post will say knife offences to make you think we're talking about stabbings. But we're talking about possession, where black and minority ethnic groups are 4.1 times more likely to be stopped and searched than white people. And thus, if you're searching black and minority ethnic groups 4 times more than white people, Yeah, you might find more knives on them. But just, to tie this whole thought together, the vast majority of knife crime offences in the UK are done by white people. However, this isn't the convenient mental image that the media tends to portray when we say the phrase knife crime youths.
We have a major problem with black gangs. Rival black gangs are killing each other.
The media just went crazy. I remember growing up, obviously working with music, and I just remember news outlet after news outlet after news outlet, politician over politician, people wanted to interview me. It was actually becoming silly, man, and it was sad because the politicians and the media, they won. They got what they wanted. Do you know what I'm saying? Drill music now is on the decline. Labels rejecting drill music now. Everybody, it's even gotten to the artists, their own heads, that they should stop doing drill music. Most of drill rappers are on heavy indictments, so a lot of them are in jail. They get, again, longer time because they're related to music through gangs or whatever. They won. And even that, knife crime hasn't changed. So what is it? UK gang drill music is being released at its lowest point since I've been working. And guess what? Knife crime still is here and knife crime still feels the same. But again, it's not in my hood. Because it's not being reported on as much. Remember, the crimes up north, you barely hear about. All the white people outside of London, you don't hear about. Even the white people killing people in London, you don't hear about. They got less to report on now. Do you know what I'm saying? They've got rid of so many black people and put them in jail. Do you know what I'm saying? Many people have been given the book, and many people got NFAs or barely even caught. If it wasn't a black guy, unfortunately, from my experience, it was not seen as priority, especially growing up. Do you know what I'm saying? Especially with the Section 64, Section 61s, Section 60s. Do you know what I'm saying? Everyone is getting stopped. I remember going out one time. I was with my brother and he's white. My mum used to say, because he used to go out and steal from shops and that. My parents used to tell me no, to always wait outside. Do you know what I'm saying? I didn't really understand why, but then I understood one time because, again, it was the Jakes that stopped me and it was him that kind of got away. And obviously I didn't ever steal anything. I was just outside. Obviously, after that, they didn't find nothing and let me go. But still, just little things like that. Do you know what I'm saying? And you would really feel those effects growing up. Do you know what I'm saying? That everything commercial is just against you. Do you know what I'm saying? Mainstream media is against you. Everything's against you. So it gets to a point where, you know what I'm saying, you start to feel kind of bitter for society. And society's kind of just neglected you. Pointed their fingers at you, but they've neglected you. Just to edit, guys, my camera overheated again. So I'm just going to wrap up this video. Please do check out Jimmy the Giant. Like, comment and subscribe. And if you do enjoy what I'm doing, please let me know what you want to see next. Thank you. Peace.